Welcome to episode 21 of Final Fantasy. Now, I remembered exactly who I was supposed to be talking to last time that I was searching for, so I just came back to find her. And according to her, a fairy was living in their spring, but she hasn't seen her. And, well, can't help but wonder what happened to her, you know? Well, that's who you're supposed to talk to connect the dots. Because you talk to her, you find out the fairy at the spring is missing. You talk to that guy with the eye patch. He discusses how he caught a fairy in a bottle and sold her. Because he's a dick. But, yeah. So you're supposed to gather that he went somewhere and sold her, and seeing as how he looks like a pirate, I guess you can assume that despite there not being access to a port for your ship, maybe he went to a different town and sold her. And this town up here is a port town. You know, they have fishermen and they have a dock. It's weird, you can't take your ship here. I don't know why. On Rock. Or on Rack, I don't know how you want to pronounce that. I don't remember exactly what on there. I just remember thinking, yeah, this isn't worth showing. So this guy will discuss a caravan that had something weird for sale. Okay, we're connecting more dots, and, okay, lady. I'm sure I'm glad you love your legs. It's okay. It's not too weird. I love my legs, so it's awesome to have legs. Something weird about that, lady. Well, we might find reference to what's up with that later. There's some magic shops there, and they have the remainder of the level 7 magic that we need. I'm not going there yet because in order to buy the fairy that we're rescuing, we need $40,000, so I'm just saving money until I get that done. Yeah, okay, so this lady, she wanted to save the mermaids in the sunken shrine, the underwater shrine. So she made a submarine out of a barrel and decided to go do that on her own all by herself. But started running out of air because it's just a barrel. And so, yeah, she had to abandon her little project. This guy filling in the clue that we heard in Gaia about that shining light that fell to the west. Well, we are to the west. And apparently, a light or object from the sky fell into a nearby waterfall. Thing is, this isn't important until later. But I'm here right now, so I might as well get that out of the way. You know? So, yeah, let's go do that. After talking to this lady, but the sunken shrine is said to be filled with riches, including various wealthy items and even tablets describing lost languages and civilizations. Well, that's not oddly specific at all. Just so happens we might need such a thing. I kind of want to know what Lupagami-do means. You know, what insult are they hurling my way? Let's go up the river here. Let's see if we can find this waterfall. Oh, there it is. And in we go. Now, of all the dungeons in the game, of all the mazes this game has to offer, this is the maziest. This place. So I'm just gonna take the right path. But you can get a little lost in here. There's a lot of turns, a lot of ways to go that lead to nothing. The clay golems here, well, I've fought them before, but I figure I'd mention it now. These exemplify one of the problems with encounter balancing in this game. in that they can deal a lot of punishment, but they can't take any at all, so it's actually rather easy. Because aside from Berettas, we really have nothing to fear anymore. Not in the overworld, anyway. The dungeons will exist to wear us out, but since this, again, this version has magic points, it's less of an endurance test anymore. Now, we're in the waterfall cave. Makes sense we'd fight some firebirds. But the waterfall cave is another dungeon that I, after playing this game the first time, completely forgot about. And the second time I played through the game, it was like a brand new experience. In fact, this is the dungeon that I always seem to forget about. It's such an odd ball out because it's just this one little maze. And we're here for an item that is important, but I just forget this dungeon exists every time. I don't know. Maybe upon noticing that, I will remember it from now on. And the object that fell from the sky is in fact a mandatory item, go figure. It's one of 2 items we need to enter the air dungeon, which is called the Flying Fortress. But you need 2 items. In fact, we're going to need that stone tablet from the water shrine, or the sunken shrine, that just depicts ancient languages so that we can get the other item. But I'll talk about the sunken shrine and how unique it is when we get there. And technically speaking, because of how the sunken shrine is laid out, you know, the air dungeon, because you can do all this, can be the second dungeon you beat. But again, and more about that later. I'm getting distracted by talking. This is going to be a kind of annoying encounter. You see, Cockatrice is, while our levels are high enough to be way resistant to petrification, it can still randomly happen. It's just, the odds are low. Now, I could use Sid to nuke all of them. Like, just right here, right now, kill them all, and I should have. But I didn't, because if they managed to petrify somebody, I wanted to heal it in combat. That way, I could keep my experience even. Kind of a crap reason, but that's just me. And there's no guarantee Sid will go first. In fact, that's a very unlikely thing, because there are 9 enemies and 3 other party members, all of which who could go before him. You know, any given single unit is unlikely to go first, because it's all determined kind of at random. I think there is a stat like speed or something that will help, but won't guarantee. But never bank your strategies on somebody going first, ever. Always just input what you want to do and hope for the best. Then we have this guy emphasizing words. Oh look, yeah, Tiamat, the boss of the Flying Fortress. You know, I stopped commentating for a while there because I accidentally spoiled that Tiamat was the boss of the Flying Fortress. I don't know if you heard any gaps in commentary or not, but I deleted part of it and started re-talking over it because I didn't want to spoil that. And, well, spoiler robot here decided to do that instead. Oh well, one of those chests contains a ribbon. A legendary item. It's a helmet in this game that wards off special attacks. Now, let's wait just a second, because I am going to, after that encounter, use exit to exit the dungeon, because I have that now. But, ribbons, yeah, they're a helmet that wards off special attacks. Now, in future games, there would be an accessory that makes you immune to status conditions. In this game, it's a helmet that increases resistance, but doesn't make you immune. Very important distinction. Alright, let's go out to this desert, because there's a caravan out here that is in a well-hidden area. I don't know how you're supposed to know to do this, but yeah, it's here. Thanks, game. Bottled Fairy, 40,000. Whatever. I ought to kill you and take it, because this is just wrong, but it's not human trafficking, but it is fairy trafficking, and well, I'm against all forms of trafficking. Except for goblins. We can traffic goblins. What even is a Beretta? What are they supposed to be? Are they turtles or something? I don't know. Stop, you're not going there. Onrak is not your destination, you want to go to Gaia. These wyverns, you know, all they were doing is trying to tell you that, but you killed them. Like a punk. Yeah, I actually do go there and try to go to the Sunken Shrine, because I forgot I needed to do this first. Kind of a derpy moment on my part, but well, alright, because we talked to that lady and she mentioned the fairy lived at the spring, and we actually got a cutscene showing the fairy flying away. Unlike the NES version, we know to go to that spring that I saw earlier. She probably went there. So let's see if she has anything to say. Well, yeah, I rescued you. You're welcome. And she's sorry for running away because she was scared. Well, I can't blame you. And she's going to give us a substance known as oxyale. Now, only fairies can get oxyale from this specific spring. But it is a substance that will just create air to breathe. That seems almost like if you just let that stuff lie around, you'd make life unlivable on the planet, because eventually the air pressure would get so heavy that we'd all be crushed to death, but whatever, maybe it doesn't last forever. Yeah, and the atmosphere is a big place. It would take several thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, depending on how much air is being created, but you are putting stuff into the atmosphere without removing it. Even if we can breathe it and it's beneficial, too much will be a bad thing, but enough about that. I bought the rest of the level 7 spells, and I'm going to show off the Inn and Onrak before heading in the direction of the Sunken Shrine and saving. So I'll save and quit before actually talking to the lady to get out of our way so we can use the barrel. Because with this oxyale, we can't run out of air. I don't know how that works. Because again, you're still putting carbon dioxide into the barrel after you breathe, and you're just creating air in that tiny space. Air pressure would be rising. But I'm just gonna forget it. Maybe it cleanses the air. Maybe it also absorbs as it puts in. Whatever. I'll stop talking about the science behind a liquid that just creates air to breathe. in this fantasy setting. Bye.